Well, we make almost all of our hormones. We get ready for the most stressful thing that we're going to do, which is wake up. And so the cortisol is the highest in the morning. The T is up in the morning. All the things that are anti-inflammatory and support the rest and digest function that has to be in full gear to change from being paralyzed and asleep to being awake, and most of us hit the ground and go. So it is the most stressful thing you do all day, unless you're a soldier, of course. Get up and that's when most cardiovascular events happen. Morning blood pressure is a very important reading for people that have high blood pressure.
Health, fitness, mindset, nutrition. Live better and longer. I'm Saad Alam, and let's hone in. It is well known that 60% of soldiers sleep less than 6 hours a night. What does that do to your body?
Well, not only do you not have time to do your rest and digest healing functions, but inflammation goes up and T production goes down. So you make testosterone and many of your hormones at night, and in particular during REM cycles. And so every 8-hour block of sleep, which is what the average human needs, is about 5 REM cycles of T production. So hormone health is drastically affected by lack of sleep. Inflammation, inability for the immune system to repair, inability for the immune system to fight offending agents. So they've studied the amount of sleep prior to vaccine response. And so people don't have the same mounting of immune response if they don't sleep the night before a vaccine. I mean, it's a really important thing to sleep and to know that all of the processes have been able to hit the reset button. Also, the assimilation of memory, the ability for mental health to cope with stressors. Sleep is how we make sense of things, by dreaming and by storing certain places in short term, certain ideas and concepts in short term versus long term memory, and how we deal with stress.
Talk to me about, you said we go through 5 REM cycles per night, and each of those correspond to a separate release of testosterone?
Yes, so we make T, men make T, during REM cycles in particular, and also in the REM cycles in the early morning hours, even more in particular. So think about what a person who doesn't sleep, like a soldier, what do? They may go to bed a little earlier, be more on the earth cycle where sunset and wake up with sunrise, but they're not sleeping 8 to 9 hours. They're sleeping 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours. And so the average amount of sleep is too low, but also the morning sleep is what's being lost. So they're sleeping in the nighttime, but they're waking up too early. So they're missing those early REM cycles that are also, men make their T in the morning. Having an early morning spontaneous erection is a sign of normal production of testosterone, high levels of testosterone. And that's why those morning erections are there spontaneously in people with healthy testosterone levels, because the T production is ramped up and that T responsiveness in the body is there more in the morning.
Is it then a true statement that every time you have a spontaneous erection at night, that's when your body is producing testosterone, or is that going too far?
It's probably going too far to say every spontaneous erection is a pulse, because, there's a lot of paralytic REM sleep and the body having natural response through certain activities, through the stages of sleep themselves. But generally speaking, that morning T is related to production directly.
And so is there a scientific reason, or that we understand yet, why the earlier in the morning sleep cycles are better for our T?
Well, we make almost all of our hormones. We get ready for the most stressful thing that we're going to do, which is wake up. And so the cortisol is the highest in the morning. The T is up in the morning. All the things that are anti-inflammatory and support the rest and digest function that has to be in full gear to change from being paralyzed and asleep to being awake, and most of us hit the ground and go. So it is the most stressful thing you do all day, unless you're a soldier, of course. Get up and that's when most cardiovascular events happen. Morning blood pressure is a very important reading for people that have high blood pressure.
I think you just made a light bulb go off in my understanding of the way the body works, which is we're laying down, nothing is happening. Yeah. We're in the most still time of our entire day, and our body is saying, okay, let's start pushing a bunch of these different hormones into production, or even into stores. So the moment you wake up, which is, as you said, stressful, then we can start using them up.
Yep.
Oh, that's fascinating. And if I'm putting all the pieces together, everything from entering the military, going through basic training, being in combat, and even coming back into the real world, all very stressful.
Very much.
For soldiers.
And very little relief from the stress, and very little talking about what the stress is doing, how it's being created, acknowledging that it's there, and that the way that they're feeling and maybe will feel is normal. And it's not okay to ignore it.